recorded.
Can we get a motion to approve last month's meeting?
Motion
Meeting minutes.
Motion to approve last month's.
Sassy with the first, second.
I'll second it.
Okay, Kara, way to go. Jumped in your first task.
Right.
All right, so I'd like to welcome Kara Hawkins
Thank
to
you.
our board. Very good, Kara. We're glad to have you and
Excited to be here.
looking forward to some exciting times.
Okay.
Mary, do you want to introduce yourself to anybody else that doesn't know who you are?
Yeah, I'm Mary Doe, and I live here in Canby.
Hi, Mary.
Welcome to our monthly meeting. All right, so we'll move into the monthly Parks Department update. Obviously, Jeff is not here, Jerry's not here, so we're fortunate to have Ken Daniels here. So
we'll have a couple things. First on the agenda, it does mention Locust Street Park update, and we'll start with the picnic shelter. I know a couple months back when I was here, things were going to be rolling in October, so we were told, but then I think permits and things like that kind of got held up. Of course, the shelter is still sitting at the parking up here waiting to go. But I did have some good news today. Jerry got on the horn and we found out more information about the process. Still permits are being held up, but they'll be able to go ahead and got the okay to do cyclone fencing to get things kind of blocked off, kind of do things beforehand. So when finally it comes through with the permits, they can just hit the hard ground rolling there and get it going here. So by the end of this week, early next week, the fence will be up at Locust. So I'll start seeing some progress. And also on that too, soon as we find out, we're supposed to get feedback from the contractor as far as when the permits will happen, and we'll get more of a definite date when construction will start. So first the fence will go up, then erosion control set up, and then once the permits are ready to go, start breaking ground. And that's all I have basically on the picnic shelter. But I do want to mention also the water access. A couple of months back, it was requested to have water available for like bridging cultures or some other events at that park. And I just want to pump up Ben Johnston, who's our parks employee that took that task at hand and did an awesome job of getting a water spigot out there. So if you ever walk Locust Park and you know where the drinking fountain is between the two restrooms, you'll see a water spigot now. And to me, it looks like it was always there. So I love work like that. It looks like it's always been there. And he tied it into our mechanical room in the back. And so we discussed the proper way of not just having water on all the time, because we could have somebody turn it on and flood the area. So we had the idea of putting a little rocker valve in the mechanical room. So just like any event at Wade Park or at Locust, someone says, yeah, I need water access, excuse me, or need electrical, then we just go there and turn the valve inside the room and they have water for the event. And then we just simply turn it back off inside the room. So good, it's a good deal. I was really impressed by it, what he did there.
Can I ask how long the permit process is?
Those have been in the works for a while. It all depends up to them. It's yeah, I could try to find an answer for you on that more. Jerry might be more familiar with how long permits could take, but that's a county thing.
Yeah, oh, okay.
Yeah, they get turned in. I know they're turned in. They're in the process of looking them over, but it's just all up in their hands at this point.
Okay.
Yeah, but like I mentioned earlier, the contractor will tell us kind of a more tentative date once the permits come, and then we know more. But it just depends on the backlog and other people turning in things.
Okay.
Any questions on Locust at all, or anything so far?
Before you start, again, I wanna, we started our meeting a little bit earlier, so this is Bruce Parker. Okay, and then Andrew Hale from Cabard. So there.
All right. Maple Street Park, not a huge update except for, again, we're with the netting project on the turf fields out there has been ordered, and then they had to order the products. So again, it's probably a shipping thing, but we did have to do some work ahead of them where I had to go up and trim some of the trees because they kind of hang the existing netting, and they're going to put a new cable there. So it's going to bring it up tighter. Well, with that, it was hitting some of the trees and the brush. So we had to go up there and prune that back a little bit. That's all done. So it's just as soon as they get the stuff and get it up there, that'll be done too. So.
On turfing the fields, maybe we can have Ryan's got an update on that for us. Do you?
Well, the update is we're gonna meet with Steve Corey at Field Turf on the 22nd. Yes, yeah, 22nd at 10 a.m. Over at Maple, and kind of he's bringing out some of his guys just to make sure. He's kind of giving us a turnkey estimate, but we wanted to make sure. I believe that's what we're kind of doing, just make sure that we're not missing anything and they're not missing anything, and we can have a kind of hard number on what that looks like when we're ready to, well, if and when we're ready to go, and depending on the financial climate.
Right. And Jerry and Jeff are supposed to, be there from park staff. So Jerry and Jeff, Brian, and Scott are kind of spearheading the turf fields as they're, what we should have. So that's what we're looking at.
So the company that you guys are meeting with, are they just giving us like a thumbnail sketch? Or are they going to be somebody that's going to be bidding on the project when it comes around?
They're the ones that did the high school, all the high school stuff. They're really good. I've talked to him a little bit about some ideas about intermix it with governmental agencies, and so they deal with like 12 fields, like us, we see like this we do. So he kind of knows all the whole process of how this goes.
Okay.
But yeah, they're kind of my understanding, they're kind of the cats meow of the field turf. I mean, if you remember when Cammy first put their turf in, they went on the cheap because they had to go on the cheap. And it didn't work out very well. And so this is kind of these guys are kind of the it guys of the turf industry.
Okay.
So
Whichever way it has to go. I mean, if we need to go out for 3 bids or 4 bids, whatever, we'll do that. But I know Jerry and Jeff have, if it's I don't know what they call it, if it's a government
RFP or whatever.
state bid, if it's a state bid and then you only need 1 bid, then we could maybe go that way. And I don't know, it's possibly that might be the way that.
I'm not familiar with this, but I think Scott may know somebody else that does. I mean, I'm not against getting different bids, just to make sure that we're
Right.
in the right neighborhood.
There's another company out of Eugene that's pretty good, but I like Steve because he knows Canby, we know him. I think we're gonna get as good a deal from him as anybody, because his name's on it, kind of. So, and they were happy with the high school stuff. I think we'll be happy with him. And
Just asking the question.
yes, no, I agree, yep.
You know, sometimes it gets sticky when you start
Yes.
asking somebody that's going to bid on a project to come out and give you a thumbnail sketch. Then, does that put them at a distinct advantage during the bidding process?
Yep.
So I'm just asking the above board question. That's all.
It's a great question.
Okay.
Oh, no, I think that's it for me. That's all I have. I don't have any more community park update. I asked Jeff about that, and he said nothing's up for bid yet. So he wanted me to pump up the 2 things there. So
So we're still, I guess nothing's changed since the last. They're doing a traffic analysis study before further planning can proceed, which is what you had in the last minutes, and we seem to be right there. Okay. Parks naming process. At the last city council meeting, I guess that was discussed, and they were waiting from the landmark commission.
And I will follow up on that. I don't know where that's at, so I will follow up with the liaison to that group and try to get some background on that, where that's at.
Okay. Sounds good. At this point, we were going to move into the city staff update. Lisa and I, we met with Ryan Potter, and there were a lot of topics. The capital improvement plan based on our parks priority list, and Scott Archer and Ryan were putting together a capital improvement plan to run by the council. They were working on that. I don't know where that stands, if it is going to be, if it's on the agenda for tomorrow. Do you know if it is?
I did talk to Scott this evening. Are working on the CIP. So Scott and Jerry and Jerry, who else is part of that conversation?
It was Ryan, myself, Jeff Snyder, and Scott, Jamie Stickle. I think all of us, everyone covered in that, just to get that thing fast tracked. But I think we all kind of held that up, didn't we, Mayor?
No, I don't think it's been held up at all. I think it's just, it's right on track. And so I think it's just staff right now is going through and starting to kind of go through and I guess doing some thumbnail sketching on cost basis and potential pricing for some of these projects. So I think the big thing that this group can do is just, again, I think with the pieces about turfing Maple Street, and then the possibility of looking at, north side of town on that park piece there, the Simnett property, or what are we referring to it as these days? But just that, the conversation continue, because those are definitely going to be in the CIP. So there's no sense of not, basically holding on. But we don't want to do is get the cart before the horse, because we've seen all too well what happens when that goes about. So just as long as we're not, I guess, taking too much action before that is done. Right.
The one thing I will say is, you guys, you and Barry, you and Ryan getting that meeting set up and doing the legwork for Maple Street Park for the turf, to go look at that. That's gonna speed stuff up for us on getting an idea. Just having pricing on that is huge. A rough ballpark estimate for that. So once, I think this will all hopefully fall together. I hope to have that all squared away before the Locust Street shelter. I know that's a sore subject, but I think it's all going to come together about the same time.
I'm surprised Scott didn't ask you about that Locust Street shelter.
I talked to Scott like an hour ago and kind of told him that we're working on it. So I hope that helped.
A project for a year and a half.
He can still give me a hard time about it.
Okay.
Well, yeah, we'll have it done before Walnut.
Well done. Well done. Year and a half.
That hurts, Jerry.
Sorry, Brian.
So number 2.
So maybe on Ryan's behalf, Jerry, maybe you can speak to, I guess you already have the capital improvement, an RFP for the Auburn Farms or Wade Park or Community Park, or, that's all part of that CIP process.
Yeah, I think that you guys scheduling that meeting with the people for the turf at Maple has helped the city staff out immensely on that. But we're gonna have a meeting soon. Scott sent a calendar invite for us all to get together to talk about that. I haven't looked at it yet, but we're gonna be talking to get that on the next council, not tomorrow, but the following one to get that started. So I think the timing's going to be good on that because we want to get back rolling.
When you say get that started, did you mean the CIP?
Get the CIP through council and adopted. We want to do that as fast as we can. And I think, Mayor, you've talked to Scott about that too. I think that's kind of his priority, isn't it? To get that squared away so that we can spend that $1 million on CIP projects this year before July, get stuff done before next summer.
Right.
So that's kind of where we're at, Lisa, is everything's kind of fallen in line, I think. I feel pretty good about it.
Good, thank you.
I didn't a while ago just because how everything was going, but right now with that, you know, I mean, if that's a priority, you guys having Scott review that list that you guys made, you guys had the same kind of ideas of what was going on is going to be great. So I'm excited about what's going to happen from here on out.
You're gonna be in town before the end of the year?
Say that again.
Are you gonna be back in town before the end of the year?
Barry, I hope so, buddy. It's been a rough go for me. I'm ready to be back in town. Trust me.
You probably, well, you wouldn't have any information on the website, the developing of the website. That's a Ryan Potter thing.
Ryan had an update and I was in between my classes and he was going to tell me and I didn't get a chance to touch base on that. So I'm sorry I couldn't relay what he got done on that. So Barry, maybe we can communicate with you on that offline here in the next couple days.
Okay. And SDC discussions. That's a Ryan thing too, probably. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Above my pay grade.
yeah, Ryan's portion is pretty much done.
Okay.
Thank you, Ryan.
Thanks.
Get well.
Thanks. So at this point, Andrew, are you ready to give us a little update?
Sure, it's been a little bit busy. So for Cappard, we got to a point with the petition process and realized that there were some hefty fees that we have, that the main petitioner is liable for once we kick that process off. So we looked in and found an alternative to that, and we were trying to use that to work with the county to basically make a motion that they reduce the district size for us, because there's a in the ORS laws, there's a section that talks about making a motion, a district can do this and work with the county commissioners. So we went through that and we tried and they said no. So we're back to the petition process. So where we're at right now is we're getting everything drafted up. Dawn and I, well, the whole group, we're looking at, we have to identify a named petitioner. And the way that works is based on the number of, I can't remember what it's called, but the number of areas within the district that's being reduced, there are fees. And it adds up to about $1,000. And because we are an unfunded district, we don't have $1,000. So we've got to identify someone who's willing to be on the line for that. That's only if the petition is successful, but it goes to the voters and is voted down. Those fees. So that's all up in the air. So that's where we are right now. I think when we did the numbers based on the area and the population, the petition requires about 150 signatures. So it's not a huge task, but that fee and identifying the main petitioner is kind of a stumbling block right now. So
What was the size that you guys finally came up with?
it is mirroring. Oh, what do we do? I don't have it with me, but it's basically the city limits plus a little bit of extra. We weren't able to go back and say, well, we're just going to use the city limits plus the urban growth boundary,
Okay.
because that's not, it's not on file. What they have on file right now is the city limits as of a certain year, and then a bunch of areas that have been annexed. And the county won't accept that as a map. So we had to go through and we used some common areas and worked with a lawyer that's helping us out to, map it out based on, landmarks and roads and stuff that was as easy as we could do. So that's where we're at with the district. It is a little larger than the city limits, but not by much.
So how does that work as far as in the future, if Canby keeps expanding one way or the other? Does that district kind of grow with it or?
It would grow separately. It would have to grow separately because we can't tie it to the legal description of the city.
Okay.
We thought we would be able to do that using the information that's there, but we found out later that even if we did have the boundary, it's a snapshot of time. That's what it would be until it changed. We were thinking that we would be able to make it grow with the city, but it can't.
Wasn't it close to the school or fire district?
It matches the Canby School District.
Okay.
Yeah,
now
Right
it's.
now.
yeah, that's where it is currently. So that's where we are. We're still working with them. Don said that once we're ready to do the petition, something that he thinks he can probably do in a week or so. But I'm gonna help him out, obviously, but that's where we're at. The petition process is really designed for someone who lives within a district to decide that, hey, this neighborhood doesn't want to be in the district anymore. And so that person would, start the petition and then get all their neighbors to sign it. That's really what it's designed for, but we're being pushed by the rules that are available in the county and the state are saying, well, this is really the only option we have. So that's what we're working on.
You just said it's the school district boundaries,
Currently is the school district.
but I thought, currently,
Currently is the school district boundary. Yeah, we're trying to shrink it much smaller than that.
that's what I.
Yeah, Canby School District is huge, very large compared to the city.
So with the new boundaries, how many people, about 20,000 or so?
Yeah, it's about the population of the city plus whatever is in that outlying area. Which is, right, the outlying area is still higher density than as you get farther out, so I don't know what the numbers are there.
You need 1,000 signatures.
150.
150 signatures is $1,000. That's the fee that the main petitioner is on the line for. If it passes, if it gets successful signatures for the petition, there's a whole process behind that. Because you have to have all the signatures on 10 per page, and if any one of those has an error or is incorrect, the whole page gets thrown out.
Oh.
So that's a fun process. So you have to get a whole bunch of extra pages just to make sure if that happens, that you don't not have enough petitions.
Did I understand you that the $1,000 is in play only if you don't get enough signatures?
No. If you get enough signatures, but it goes to the voters and is voted down. So we're basically petitioning to get something on the ballot next time.
But if you get on the ballot and it passes.
Then I don't believe that the main petitioner I don't believe there are any fees for the main petitioner. There are fees that get charged to Cabbard, and those will just sit until we can pay them, which is what we've had.
But you have to have $1,000 up front.
Basically, yeah.
So are you looking to get this on the ballot for May?
We don't have that much of a timeline put together. We need to get all of the paperwork, if we're working with a couple of people in their spare time to put some of this stuff together, because we don't have the expertise on the district. The report that we have.
How often do you guys meet?
We eat monthly. So yeah, sometimes there's not a lot of updates, but we do meet monthly.
Could that come out of our budget?
I don't know.
It has to be a person. That's the issue, is the main petitioner is
You can do it.
an individual.
Gary's
These guys go there
looking-
this.
Kara's new, actually. Kara's the new one. Welcome.
Outside the district.
Ah,
No,
you're killing us.
No, it actually doesn't. It has to be somebody within, it's, all the signatures can be people in town or
The petitioner has to be from the ones that are strong.
not necessarily. It's not clear about that. That's weird, isn't it? Well, yeah, I mean, it could be. I don't think he has the $1,000 to throw down, which is why
Jerry, could we have a car wash down here on a
That was,
Saturday?
actually, we did talk about fundraisers, so.
Maybe after the leaf drop,
Yeah,
maybe both.
no, that's too much. Some Saturday,
So yeah, we had talked about fundraisers, so that is one way to do it. But it would have to be the person that's responsible, that's what it comes down to.
So is there, you talked about your snapshot of the limit. Do you have that map, or can you send us that map so we can see it? Looks like,
You
or
can
is
have
it-
it in my email, yeah.
Or just send it
And
to
would that
Mary.
change? I mean, like, if you guys didn't get to May, and then, I don't know if there's any annexations going on, or, I mean, is it? If you go, okay, now we're adding this to our map.
Right now, the map is set. Okay, we had to work with some. Their time for free.
Okay.
And we could go back to them and ask them for more, but right now we're working with them for the petition section. So don't want to push that too far.
And you said it doesn't automatically grow as. the
That's
city
my
grows.
understanding. I originally thought that it did, like if we tied it to, say, an existing district as that, or an existing legal description of like a city limit, it would grow as the city limit grew. But now that I've read a little more about how districts are set, I don't believe that actually happens.
So, yeah. I mean, we're still quite a ways away.
Right.
Yeah, we're still quite a ways away. So the goal is, I mean, the goal for you guys then would be to maybe be on the ballot by May. Or, I mean, and that would be a tough task to hit, maybe more like November of next year.
Yeah, because I think it has to go to the county and I don't know what the process is with the making a motion. They have to do the 3 readings and everything. I don't know what a petition does. I haven't read as much about that part.
So is the big hang up right now, just finding the petitioner? Is that kind of where you guys are stuck?
That's what we're doing right now. Yeah, we found out about, I want to say this time last month, that if we weren't going to be able to work to the county, so we went back to the petition idea and we're looking for that right now.
when do you have, so as soon as you find the petitioner, when does the $1,000 have to be paid? Right then?
I don't know.
If you could find that out, I mean, I'll throw my name in, I'll do it, whatever, if I'm qualified, and then we'll have a
We're gonna have to
fundraiser.
see a little.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and I know where you all live, so I don't want you disappearing for 6 months. Or you'll have a sign in your yard for 6 months.
All right, Andrew, anybody else have any questions for Andrew? No, Andrew, do you have anything more for us?
That's all I've got right now.
Yeah, I think just get it, maybe shoot us a map.
Yeah, I'll
Shoot
send
Barry
you
a
a
map and you can get it out. I'm just curious what that.
Yeah.
The new version looks like.
Yeah, if you send it to me, I'll send it out to the rest of the board.
I will do that and I will get the information about, I'll send both to you, Barry, when I get it.
Okay.
The map and when the petitioner is expected to pay that
All right,
$1,000 fee.
good, sounds good. Bruce, I didn't have you down for wife and pet or anything, but no, okay. Citizen input, anybody have anything,
Mary?
they would like to say? Okay, good, Bruce, nothing,
Nothing.
another bike trip coming up? No,
Next year.
okay,
I have a question.
yes.
Have they had any more discussion about the poll with the school district?
Funny, you should bring that up.
It's gonna be, I'm gonna be like Scott.
That's your deal. So that's Pool, Locust, and then I get Walnut Street. Is that how this works around here?
Pretty much.
Dang it.
That's funny.
Okay, so actually, I just finalized a letter that's gonna go to the school board chair, Sarah Magenheimer. Just kind of that hat in hand asking the school board to, you know, if they'll still honor the initial ask or the initial offer they put forward for the long-term lease, if they'll still honor it, we'd like to revisit that conversation. So I'm hoping that there really isn't any action required by the school board, from what I understand. I think the chair just needs to get it up or down, like, yeah, you know, from each board member, and then as soon as we get word that they'll still honor it, or at least the previous action, we're gonna put it on the agenda, get that in place so the pool can do what it needs to do and the adult center can do what it needs to do.
So you're gonna send that this week.
That'll go out tomorrow evening, hopefully.
So then it goes back to council to vote on again. Will it have to go for another 2 readings to council, or?
It would have to have another 2 readings, correct?
Cool, it's good. I know what comes there.
Tell me.
Talk. Yeah,
Mr. Chair.
yes, sir.
2 things. Our city manager, Scott Archer, has a meeting, or he and I have a meeting coming up here with the state parks area director. So it's the Ranger Scott Youngblood. It's his boss, who's the area director, to talk about Molalla State Park. So that'll be, that's coming up here before the end of the month. And then the first Friday in December is the Light the Night at Wake Park. So mark your calendars, bundle up, come down.
We've been there every morning, put the lights up.
Yeah.
How many hours do you guys do that?
A lot.
Yeah.
That's my other ask every year of Jerry is more lights. He loves that request too.
Yeah.
Don't you, Jerry?
We love the lights, more lights. Ken's on it.
Did you add more lights for this year?
Ken knows the answer to that.
A little bit, and I like to mix it up a little bit. There's couple surprises that we've never seen before.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
Quote Ken on that one.
What's the total, what's the light count?
Light count, that heard thing. No, I should do that.
Are you
But it changes.
catching Sassy yet?
We gotta beat Sassy, Ken.
Before I retire.
There's a lot of lights. I don't know the count.
That would be a fun content
It would be.
to put out.
Ken, here you go. Scott, how many lights do you have?
17,800.
Yeah, there you go. Wow.
Really?
You should do the
You
math.
counting how many lights?
Hey, Scott, I have a serious question for you, since we're talking about your lights. Are we gonna have our lights on before you this year?
Yes, that's always,
Awesome.
always.
Well, that makes me sad. I was hoping you would be sooner this year. I like driving by yours.
December 2nd.
Yeah, so that's Saturday.
Friday night.
Friday.
Mine will be the next Friday, so it'd be the 9th,
Okay.
and that's pushing it.
Now, you were dethroned last year by
I
somebody
didn't
that lives in
enter
my
the
neighborhood.
contest. I never entered a contest. I
Well,
was
I mean-
dethroned supposedly. It was fake news, but if you want to give it that, fine. It's not even close. I don't even worry about it. But it's a labor of love. You know what I'm talking about.
Mhm.
Okay,
So yours will be on the 9th.
The 9th.
What time? I'm gonna set up some lawn chairs out across the street.
Well,
I am too.
well, Jerry, will be there, so he can help you flip the switch.
I'm gonna go turn them on early.
5 o'clock.
All right.
the Molalla State Park thing is exciting.
That's great.
That's exciting. And
More to come.
I was gonna say, can you expand on that? That's a broad.
So a couple months back, Scott and I met with the current park ranger for the state park. And the 3 of us basically just had kind of a powwow of like, what would you if he had carte blanche and the money to do it, this was the Ranger, what would he want to see done? And so we both, or the three of us basically stood there by what is now the boat launch and just kind of threw out a whole bunch of ideas and whatnot. And he did share that he was surprised that the state still controlled that state park and hadn't approached the city about taking it over. As it stands right now, there's 550 acres for that park. A lot of it, some of it's protected wetland kinds of areas and whatnot, but there's still a great expanse that is open for recreation and development. So and so that's what so the next part of the conversation was, what does it take for us to move into a position where we can have the dialogue about, is this a long-term lease situation? Is this what does that look like? And then we've got to figure out from, this group as well as the city council, what does that mean to maintain? Is that doubling our current parks team to include that? I mean, right now, the state, I'm not sure if there's a resident on the property, I'm trying to remember, but they have a huge barn out there, and there's somebody that goes out and basically takes care of the state park. It's not, I mean, I think they're paid through the state, but they're not state employee. I'm not sure, it's some weird wrangling piece of it, but and then there's a neighboring property that is interested in donating their land that's attached to the state park. So, which would add another potentially, I think, 20 to 30 acres to the state park. So we're basically going to them to kind of go, okay, what are the steps, what are the hoops we need to go through to even have this conversation? Is it the state parks board? If so, what does that look like? There's been and I shared this, I think, with the group, but the park ranger did say that there are a number of cities within the state of Oregon that have partnered with the state and have taken over either all of or big portions of state parks and turning them into city parks. So that's where we're at with that. And there's, so then it's about, is that the city doing that? Is that a partnership piece with another organization? What does that look like? And so there's still a lot of steps to go, but I think if there is that kind of interest already, and that's what we need to find out from this area director, it could move quickly.
Yeah.
So
Would that just be for the dog park, or could that be, okay, we can put all the ball fields there and make that community regional park?
I think the vision that I think from what I've heard, at least from this group, and then a couple of conversations that I have had, is it's not just the dog park, it's
Regional park.
more of a regional park aspect. So that's but again, it all comes down to, if we secure that, what does it mean to maintain it, right? That's always been our argument with the group. Is it's great that we want to add turf fields over at Maple Street Park, but is that more maintenance or less maintenance? If we had a park out at Auburn Farms, that's obviously more maintenance than just mowing a field, or in this case, it's a leased field to a farmer. I mean, now we're, Jeff and his team are out there taking care of it. So that's the big picture too. Where is it? How does the dollars and cents then begin to pencil out? So is that us managing that park? Is it a partnership? Is it, so, what does that look like with a partnership and all that? So, yeah.
With the new parks department.
Well, and that's part of the conversation, the bigger conversation of developing a recreation, truly developing that recreation arm to the Parks and Recreation Board. So
Along the same lines, what happened to the soccer people that were gonna develop Fish Eddy?
more to come on that. That's all I can say for right now.
Well,
You and I, sorry, Ken.
it's too late now for the Camper, but why doesn't the city just annex those two pieces and then we don't have to do all the stuff for county?
And it's which two pieces?
Well, the.
Wayside.
Wayside, the fish eddy and the wayside,
And the Three Sisters.
the Three Sisters, the whole, that whole
Well,
thing there.
I think the Three Sisters property is ours, is it not, Jerry?
Three Sisters property is, yes, we owned by the city.
The Three Sisters is, correct?
Three Sisters is owned, we bought it with wastewater funds with the idea that we would use it for parks or wastewater expansion.
And that, so our now, you know, our,
Yeah, there's the other half is the fish eddy portion.
yeah, the fish eddy, that's county, correct?
The fish eddy's owned by the city also.
But is it in the,
But
is
it's
it in the
county.
city limits or is it in? the-
It's out of the UGB and out of the city. Portion of it's in the city of the fish eddy. But it's got big restrictions, a lot more than the Three Sisters property.
I mean, I
Does
think,
that make sense?
Yep.
one, I mean, we're talking about adding parks and, you know, and we need to really add staff, parks maintenance staff, so are we looking at in the next budget cycle, are you guys gonna be asking to add heads to your?
Yeah. Yeah, Barry, right now, Ken, I was hoping Ken would bring it up, but I'll say it, we just hired a new parks employee as of hopefully tomorrow. We got the paperwork in, but it's just replacing old ones. We're having a hard time even keeping up and keeping our employees. We're having people retiring and leave. So, but in our next, just to answer your question, in our next budget cycle, we're gonna really go aggressive after general fund to try to get more parks employees.
I think that would be, it definitely would be
Yeah.
beneficial, and it would leave our parks maintenance fee intact, so we don't have to pay for parks employees out of that. We can use it to improve some of the other.
That's correct, Barry. It would be nice. I know police came to council for some big spending here recently, but the city has grown and we need to revisit that, right, Mayor? Just on park stuff and everything else. We have a lot of property. We're going after that. I hope we can keep going after general fund money, and I hope we can keep the parks maintenance fee also, just for maybe, like, I know, Barry, that's a big thing for you. And I think the Parks Advisory Committee of having more parks employees, doing less street stuff, doing less cemetery stuff, and then using that for just fun stuff, adding to parks and everything, the parks maintenance fee. And that's kind of a goal of ours. We hope to achieve it. We'll see what happens.
Right.
But we do have a new parks employee that we went through interviews, and replacing Dennis Welly, who retired several weeks ago. So we got a new young person that was a seasonal of ours. Parker is his name, and we're excited. He's going to be starting full-time with us shortly.
And we're in the process of going through interviews to hire another person.
Oh, good. Good. All right,
Yeah.
nice looking room there too.
Yeah, I apologize. You might need to work on your public works director here. He's gone through everything on his whole computer, and I think I just had dirt or land or something in my camera. So anyways, I apologize. It's good seeing all you guys.
All right, does anybody else have anything? I mean, we've gone through the agenda, so any more comments, information? Okay, we're good. So can I get a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Mr. Sassy, second by Mr. Treeblosser. So that's it. Our next meeting will be December 20th. Ooh, wow. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas. Close. if, we may move it up, may leave it, may cancel, but I will let you know.
I moved to cancel.
I'll bring goodies.
There's a motion on the table.
All righty. Jeez, David. All right, thanks, everybody.
Thanks for trying, I appreciate it.
Bye, Jerry.
See you guys. Have a good evening.
I got a phone call.
Bye. Ken,
Ken,
let me know if I need to lock anything.
Okay, so just get the gate. You can do
I'll
that.
get the gate right now. I'll get the gate after everyone leaves.
Okay, thanks.
Yep. See ya. Thank you.
Both of those tests, I don't know